Aloha my kako. Welcome back to Transfer Talk. Today, Anuhea and I have a really important, relevant, and fun episode for you. It's centered around questions like how can distance education students get involved with campus activities? How can they bridge the distance? How can they gain a stronger sense of connection to the campus? Essentially, how they can become a pueho in every sense of the word. Our first guest for this episode is an expert in this area. It is truly my pleasure to introduce to you Wendy Takahashi. We have so much to talk about, but before we jump in, I just want to say thank you so much, Wendy, for coming on the podcast. It's awesome to have you here.
Thank you, Travis, and thank you, Anuhea. I mean, what an introduction. I wouldn't see myself as an expert, but to be called that, I am so thankful. Thank you for having me.
Best on here. That's why we invited you. All right, let's jump into your first question, Wendy. Can you tell us a bit about your role as a student services specialist?
Yeah, so I actually have two roles that fall under being a student services specialist. And the first one is as being one of the professional staff at the auao Center. So we're the learning center at UHWO, and we provide tutoring, testing, workshops, and other support services to UHWO students. We have an awesome team that's supportive of each other. But I'd say that my primary role is to coordinate, plan, and execute our 3 semesterly events. So that's open house or spring kickoff. Open house is in the fall, spring kickoff is in spring, Western relaxation, and cram jam. And I also help to oversee our social media page. So we get kind of busy throughout the semester, but we try to post about our events, our workshops, like I mentioned, important academic calendar dates. And then we also like to sprinkle a little bit of fun in there so that students can get to know our student leaders, our staff.
I didn't know that you organized the social media page, and I just gotta say, it is really well designed. Your branding is on point. I love it. So to all the listeners, definitely go follow them over on Instagram. And yeah, some of those posts are really creative and super funny. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. Worth a follow for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, because when I came on, our social media had already been started, and then I was able to take on that role. It was really well organized from there. And actually one of our students right now, she is really good with reels and finding the trends. And so she's like, Wendy, let's do this one. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. And so it's been nice. It's been really nice.
I love that. That's great.
Did you want to also share your other role? So auao and then your
Yes. So my second role is with our grant program. It's okele huakai na auao. And I'm sure we'll probably get into that a little bit later. But I primarily help with coordinating workshops for our transfer online students, specifically living in Maui County or Kauai. And basically the workshops are meant to support students as they progress throughout their academic journeys.
I want to also add that the programs and activities that you organize for a grant actually reach students holistically. It's not just academic, it's financial.
Yes.
There's like social, emotional. There's also career readiness and interview things. So it's like all around, I would say.
And that's
it hits all of those points.
That's super important because like college is not just about the academics. It is holistic. It's a learning experience for all aspects of your life. So it's really amazing that you're organizing those workshops. I love it.
Thanks, you guys.
What are your favorite aspects of each of those roles? Like, what do you get the most joy from?
Yeah, for the auao Center, I'd say one, I really enjoy meeting students when they come to our events. I just like talking story to them. Sometimes I feel like the old one out of the bunch, and so I always tell our student leaders, hey, make sure you're talking story, meeting other people. But every now and then I like to kind of get to know our students as well. And so I get to learn about them, and I get to remember their names and see them come throughout the semester, which is really nice. I also love that overall our events are able to contribute to bringing student life back to the campus. I'm sure we can all relate that our campus can sometimes feel empty. So putting on events that showcase our center's resources, our services, our staff, while also cultivating a sense of community is most rewarding to me. Last week, we actually had a debrief. We usually have a semesterly debrief. And Nick, he's our online coordinator. He does many things. Like I said, we have many hats, but I'd say that he's our data and number guru. He shared last week during our debrief session that our events have been the highest in attendance since COVID. And so COVID was really high, but we're getting there. We're getting up there, and I feel like that's a really fun achievement to point out.
That's amazing. A round of applause is in order for that.
Yes.
And what about ho'okele? What's your favorite part of that role?
For the whole okele program, I think first of all, we have an amazing team. I really love being on this team, although it's a new program. I think the collaboration between us, the upbeat energy, the specific skills and knowledge that everyone has and brings to the table is really cool to be around. I specifically love that I get to host one-on-one talk story sessions with our online transfer students. Personally, I thrive in one-on-one settings, so it feels really natural to me, and hearing about a students' academic and personal journey really inspires and motivates me myself. I want to go to graduate school, so just hearing, especially our non-traditional adult learners, tackle school, I think really motivates me, and everyone has a story to share. No one's journey is the same, but I get the privilege of hearing it and coming up with ways to better support them.
I love that. Has there been any memorable insights that you've gained from one of those one-on-one meetings?
Yeah, I met someone who she works 3 jobs, and you would think, right, like you're working 3 jobs, you're going to school, she has adult children, but you would just think that you would be bogged down and tired and stressed out. And I'm sure that happens. That's natural. But she was so happy. She was so happy about the knowledge that she was gaining. And she felt like she finally found her place as far as what she wanted to learn and how she wanted to contribute to her community. And I think that really inspired me to just, what am I waiting for? Just go for it and not be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. It can be a lot of work, but it can also be very satisfying and gratifying to them.
Finding that greater purpose, right? And pursuing that through school.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you get to hear these stories and then share them with us. Okay. How does the Ho'okele Huaka na auao grant fit into the No'eau Center? How do they work together and collaborate?
This grant program is, again, one thing is to be able to support them. And we said it's holistically, but also academically. And the No'eau Center brings that academic side in. One way we plan on doing that is to ensure that students are aware of our services, especially our online support services, because these are distance ed students. So specifically that peer tutoring aspect.
I love that peer tutoring for any subject is available online, but also the essay preparation and then turning it in and getting it edited, peer editing.
Yes.
Is amazing. And multiple students that I work with on Kauai have told me that they use that service. I'm so stoked to know that it's there and that it's being used.
Yeah. I used it at least 4 or 5 times when I was a student, and yeah, it was absolutely amazing, integral to my success at some key moments. So definitely would recommend all students to use that resource.
Yeah, I agree. When I'm at tabling events and I'm talking to students about our services, I tell them about our online draft submission feature, and I'm like, you guys use this because if I were a student, I would use it too. So we, like Anuhea said, we offer tutoring in basically almost any subject. So writing, business, accounting, some sciences too, and really want to encourage students to just inquire with us. They don't see their subject because we always try to help. But also, like Anuhea said, we do help with scholarship essays, resume writing. Even if you need tech support, IT is probably the best, but if you need to navigate Laulima, we also help with that. So we got a full range of services, and we're open during business hours, usual business hours, but we also provide tutoring on the weekend. We know students can get really busy during the week, especially if they're working. And so during the semester, we're open on Saturdays from 10 to 12, specifically via Zoom. And so Zoom is an awesome feature.
And am I remembering this correctly? Wasn't there a tutor that was stationed here at KCC that was trained and everything through the No'eau Center? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, we had a student last semester, John, and then he graduated.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yes.
Cool.
He was awesome.
So is it okay if we rewind just for a second? The listeners who may not know, can you guys discuss more of what is Ho'okele and what it aims to do? I understand it's holistic, but holistic for who? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so ho'okele huaka'i auao, it's translated to Navigating the Learn Journey. It's a new Title III grant program where UHWO is in partnership with Kauai Community College and UH Maui College. And we have different goals within that grant. And so one is enhancing the transfer pathway for our Kauai Community College and UH Maui College students. We also want to improve online learning with new technology and culturally responsive curriculum, I should say. And then, as Anuhea mentioned, providing holistic support to our distance learners throughout their academic journey. And that support comes in many forms, and it's so awesome that obviously we have Anuhea here because one of big support that students get on Kauai and Maui is they have their what we call our student success coaches, but basically our academic advisors. And I believe they're integral, I think, and I'm sure Anuhea can speak to it. But when I was doing those one-on-one talk story sessions with students, they shared about their experience having their academic advisor on island and bridging that gap between them and UHWO. They were there to answer their questions, being the point person for them and guiding them along the way. I think is such an amazing feature to have that specifically where they're located.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for speaking so nicely about it, Wendy. I agree, and I think Hawaii, geographically speaking, is separated by islands, so therefore there's water, so that already creates a distance, right? But having an actual person that is like now the bridge of UHWO on these separate islands,
Yes.
I think makes it a lot less intimidating for people to be like, okay, well, if I transfer here, I still have someone here to talk to or go to or help me with whatever it may be. So
For sure.
I'm happy to be that person, and I really do enjoy my job and my team and being part of this grant. So yeah, it's awesome. So we help with transfer. I think one of our big things is getting people from community college to transfer to UHWO and distance ed programs. All the things like registration, application,
Yes.
auto admit, we help and support with that. And then retention, so keeping the students too, making sure that they feel supported and can do what they need to get done to graduate. And that's, I think, one of our big goals too, is retention and graduation as well.
And you've been teaching that like one credit course, right, as well?
Oh yeah, that's a new thing. So in order to grow a greater community within the UHWO, more niche on Kauai, having a class we started last spring, which we'll have for all available to any transfer student that comes into UHWO from Kauai, can be in my SD 102 class. So that's been a kind of a cool experiment.
Yeah, I know a lot of the students that we've had on for season 2 have all said that they like really enjoyed that class. So it's exciting to see. Yeah.
That is exciting.
I also think in terms of like retention, like the fly-in visits were massive for me personally. All those days were in my highlight reel for sure.
I love that. I think that is such a feature that, yeah, I agree. I think students will love. And like you said, Travis, you being a part of it yourself, it's something that you'll remember and in a sense creates community, right? Creates a sense of belonging to their home campus, even though they can't obviously be there on a daily basis. And what's been nice about these visits is we've been trying to incorporate, like luncheons with our auao student leaders. And so we kind of get them together where they can talk story without us being there. So that they can connect, and meet other students, because I think overall that's kind of slim, right? With a lot of online classes, but especially for our distance learners.
Yeah, on top of the fly-in, which I didn't realize would be a benefit though. So bringing students to the campus was like, hey, we want you. We think you're important. Come visit this place, or you're already here. Come see it. Was them coming to campus and being like, I want to actually move. I had a handful of students move
Yes.
after me taking them from Kauai, which was awesome. It was like, well, they came and they saw it. They're like, wow, this is not scary. This is beautiful. This is somewhere I want to be. I see myself there. So I thought that was an added benefit that I didn't foresee happening.
I did meet one of those students, and it was pretty cool because he showed up at, I believe it was our spring kickoff this semester, and he was telling me he's from Kauai, and I was like making the connections, and he said he loves it, and he told me that he loved the fly-in program. He loved being able to, I think he even met one of his professors as well. And so I think that was also very key for him.
I love that. So Wendy, you mentioned open house, the spring kickoff, Weston Relaxation, Cram Jam, like all these really awesome events that the Noyao Center puts on, right? So how can DE students actually participate in that? Is that where the Discord server comes in?
Yes, and so, we do encourage all students to participate in our events, and that is where our Discord server comes in. So basically, we created our Discord server especially with our distance students in mind. And that was so that they can connect with other UHWO students. And we always had the thought to start a Discord server. At least that's what our No'eau Center director told me before I came on, that they were always thinking about it, especially during the pandemic. But we used to have we were just talking about him, John, a tutor living on Kauai, and he shared the idea of creating a server because he felt left out of events. He would get the emails and he always just felt like, man, I'd love to be a part of it. And so when he brought up Discord, we're just like, let's go for it. So we did, and what we have right now is we have like fun channels. It's funny because I had to educate myself on Discord. I had no idea what Discord was. But we have different voice and text channels, and there's some fun channels, but then there's also some academic channels. It's not for tutoring, but again, it's for students to be able to join us during our events. And so during our events, we try to implement games on there. We have our staff on Discord, and so they can talk story, do breakout games, even like icebreakers where they can get to know about our services. And then we also try to incorporate our in-person giveaways to our students who are also online, because I feel like they should be able to partake in those too. And so it's small little giveaways, but we've mailed it out before to anyone who wins it. So I think it's another reason for students to join.
That's awesome. And like, where can students go to find the details on that?
Yeah, so students can go to bit.ly/No'eau Discord. Then they can search No'eau Center Hub. So there will be a search bar, and then they just look up No'eau Center Hub and they can join us easily from there.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Wendy. That's really cool.
No, thank you for asking. It's something that we're still trying to gain traction with, and we're hoping that can be a bigger thing, especially, with our distance learners.
I'm a big believer in like build it and they will come. I'm sure it's gonna be like it's gonna grow and be amazing. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was something that you guys wanted to happen, and then John like made it happen because he was like, "I want this, so I'm gonna do it." Right? Like, I'm glad that a
Yes.
distance ed student was a catalyst because that was the purpose, right, for them to feel more connected and a part of the community. So, yay, John,
Exactly.
and
Yay,
yay,
John.
Center.
Shout out, John.
Yeah, so we've touched on this a little bit, but can you tell us about the workshops that you've put on? I've heard that there was one for mental health and there was also one for financial literacy. So can we talk a little bit about those?
Yeah. So again, I part of my job on the whole okele grant is to be able to get to know our students, research ways to help them and support them. And so basically when we first started, we conducted a small survey asking students about their online experience. Part of that survey specifically asked them about workshops and what type of topics they'd like to see, whether that's online or in person. And so basically the three most popular topics that came up were financial literacy, mental health, and career development. And so all three of these workshops were hosted via Zoom, and it was definitely directed towards our students from Maui and Kauai, but also to all UHWO students. And so we had an actually a really awesome turnout for that financial literacy workshop. It was a 4-part series, so it was jam packed with a lot of information on building credit, paying off debt, paying for college, and even investing. And so what was really nice too was it was digestible information. So I think students could really catch on to what Kara, who was the one leading it, to what she was saying. And then even with our mental health workshop, that was really fun. One of our psychologists here at UHWO led that, and that was on identifying and preventing mental exhaustion. So great topic. I think really students were extremely interested in it, and they really wanted to walk away with tips. The workload can be tough, especially if you're working and you have children and other personal things going on in life. So yeah, I think I'd say that those were really successful.
Nice. Yeah, and super important topics, right? Like lifelong skills types of
Yes.
stuff, right? And especially like the mental exhaustion one, like preventing and recovering from burnout, right? Like I feel like the recovery part of that can be interesting as well, you know.
It can be. It can be.
So in the future, are there any other topics that you would want to see in a workshop?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to expand this semester on those different topics. I think those are broad, overarching topics like financial literacy, even mental health. And so I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. And like I know even with the mental health workshop that we had, a student was asking, can this be a series too? I think there's so much, but even topics such as like scholarship essay writing, tips for applying to FAFSA, preparing for an interview, the career development workshop that we had, it was on resume building. That was with Dr. Loya Akiona. He is our director here for career services. Man, he just shared so much information. And afterwards, he shared a Google Drive of all of his resources. And I think that's so helpful to students. And so I really want to build upon even that. And importantly, I want to this semester start incorporating our Native Hawaiian cultural workshops. During my one-on-one talk story sessions with students, a couple of them said that they want to practice Olelo Hawaii. They want to practice speaking with others. And so I want to create that space for them and get creative, implement some crafting, and just kind of expand our wings a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. I want to participate in them myself. That's why. And then I actually taught Travis how to make leis here on Kauai,
Oh
and he's
my
like, "Hey, why don't you
gosh,
have a workshop
yes.
for like other people in real life and or online, so I can
Oh,
be in
no, that would
person
be
here, and
awesome.
then if Maddie or whoever you're working with is gonna do the online version, then I can be like hands on here." But yeah,
That'd be great.
I love that.
I love that you said that because Maddie and I, so Maddie is one of our student workers that was just hired, and we actually just met this morning. And so we were talking about having those type of workshops that are a little bit more laid back so that students can just talk story and get to know each other, not feel so formal. So like, yeah, Anu, like lei making where we're all just on Zoom and you guys are in person and playing some music and talking story. I think that could be an idea.
We're in. Sign us up.
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you. I think this is our ending question of the day. What is your best piece of advice for a distance ed student who's looking to find where they belong at UHWO?
Oh my gosh, this is such a great question. Honestly, I think the first that comes to mind is to just not be afraid to jump in. I think I come off as like an extrovert, but really truly I am so shy. And I think a lot of students probably can relate in a sense. And especially because of pandemic, I think it's really kind of closed us off to communicating and putting ourselves out there. So I'd say, even though you may not be living on Oahu, you may not be able to come to campus all the time, try to find ways where you can connect with someone. And that's anyone, whether that's your instructor, whether it's finding a job, at Kauai Community College or UH Maui College, or talking with classmates on Laulima or chatting with someone, creating study groups. I think creating those connections will definitely make your experience fun, enjoyable, and you're not going through it alone. So don't be afraid to do that. It can be intimidating, it can be awkward, but making those connections, networking, that's really going to bring you somewhere when you're done. And honestly, college is the best time. I wish I think when I was in college I knew it, but I don't think I valued it the way that I look back at it now. And I think that's always the case, right? But to really truly see that, because after college, man, you're working. So make those connections now, have fun, enjoy it. It can be a good ride.
Absolutely. I think that's really great advice. Like, you have to put yourself out there. The
Yeah.
temptation is to just go it alone, and that's not the way to do it. You got to put yourself out there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, building relationships or make any job, any
Mm-hmm.
work, any school you go to so much more of a rich experience.
Exactly. I think that summed it up perfectly. Exactly.
so Wendy, are there any questions or anything that we should be asking but we aren't? Is there anything that comes to mind that
There is something I want to bring up about the Noeao Center, which I didn't get to, that I think is super helpful for our distance ed students. So aside from tutoring, we also have asynchronous workshops. And a lot of people put a lot of work into it for the Noeao Center. So it's on our website. It lives on our website. So if you just search up Noeao Center, go to our website and go to the tab for workshops. And so it's basically a short YouTube videos, and it covers topics such as, avoiding plagiarism, APA formatting, math note taking, all of that, and including learning soft skills, creating a successful presentation, how to tackle and prepare for a test, and even getting the most out of G Suite. So, like Google Calendar, right? You know Google Calendar, but do you know about Google Keep? Because I did not know about Google Keep. Um, and so, anyways, all that to say, it's extremely helpful. I like to tell students that this is kind of like a hub that you can go to, that you can refer to, obviously at midnight, when you're needing help. And obviously, tutors are not available at midnight. I think that's something that students can really look at. And there's even some workshops there that if you complete the short, I'm telling you it's short, there's a short quiz afterwards, and you can get a certificate and add that to your resume. So there's definitely resources on our website. Students should check it out.
What is Google Keep? Because I don't even know what that is.
It's kind of like where you can keep your notes. Like when I saw one of our students playing around with it, like there's like post-it notes on there, like your hub to keep everything together. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but
I gotta check that
don't quote me.
out. Awesome. Maybe I gotta take that G Suite class.
Yeah,
Brush up
yeah.
on some skills. Awesome. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for your time. I hope it was a little bit fun,
That was fun.
right? Yay!
Yeah, Wendy, thank you so much. I think the students are going to get so much out of this, and I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, you guys. This is fun. I was definitely nervous, but I enjoyed my time and I really appreciate the invite.
Welcome back to another episode of Transfer Talk. My name is Travis, as you know, and today we have a very special guest, Jesica Paredes. Jesica is the Kauai Island Distance Education Senator for the Associated Students of the University of Hawaii, West Oahu, essentially West Oahu's student government, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And before we jump into some of the more specific questions, how are you doing today, Jesica?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So, to jump in, can you share with us some aspects of your journey to West Oahu? Like, for example, did you start your academic career at KCC or did you start at a different school?
I started at KCC. That's when I earned my associate's degree in accounting. I then decided to transfer to West Oahu.
What made you decide on West Oahu? Was there a specific like program, aspect, anything like that?
Yes, they did offer accounting degree and everything was offered online.
What drew you to that major?
I've always wanted to be an accountant ever since I was in probably middle school. And then when I took high school, I took some accounting classes. And that's when I decided I really enjoyed it.
That's great. I love it. So you knew exactly what you want to do all the way back in high school. That's awesome. That's great.
10 years ago.
Wow. Nice. Cool. Awesome. So to pivot over just a bit, can you tell us about your position with the Associated Students of West Oahu?
So I represent the Kauai DE students for West Oahu, sort of a representative. If they have any questions, I can either answer them or direct them to the proper person that can answer them.
So you're almost like a point of contact in a way?
Yes.
Cool. When you decided to run for that position, what did you hope to gain from these experiences?
I hope to gain a connection for the Kauai students, to have that connection with the West Oahu students, and then let them know that, they do know that we're here and we exist.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Now, I remember there was like an actual election and a whole campaign when you decided to run for this position. And I think, most people, when they think of an election or a campaign, they think of the craziness with like the presidential campaign. So can you tell us like what that election experience and that campaign experience was like? I hope it wasn't like the craziness of the presidential one, but yeah, what was that like?
No, it was fairly smooth. I think I was only competing with another candidate, but yeah, it was fairly easy. I just joined. I was hoping, obviously, that I could win. And yeah, they helped me all along. UH West Oahu representative and the advisor for ASUHWO.
Nice. That's great. And what would you say has been the most memorable experiences of this role so far? Were there any cool events? Did you help any students directly? Anything like that?
At the beginning of the semester, I hosted a welcome back spring bash for the semester of 2025. And a lot of our students really didn't know that we existed or I existed. So that kind of created that connection as well. And yeah, I got to meet a lot of the DE students that mostly take online classes. I was able to meet them in person as well.
Nice. Yeah. I remember that event. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good food, a lot of good jokes and stories being told. It was a good time.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're in this role to help students. You're really a point of contact for anybody who has any questions, right?
Yeah.
So to all the listeners, like I would highly recommend to reach out to Jessica if you have any questions, concerns, or just want to talk story about UH West Oahu, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So do you host like office hours? Like how does that work?
Yes, so we are required to host a total of 4 office hours per week. So mines are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Okay, cool.
And then you can find me on Discord.
And how long will you be in this position? Is it to the end of this semester, next year? What are we talking?
To the end of the semester.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like I said, I love the fact that you're student focused, student driven, but to get to know you a little bit more as well, like has this involvement with student government, with the associated students of UH West Oahu, has that increased your own sense of connection with the campus as a DE student yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I've flown there a few times for ASUHWO, and I've been able to connect with the other members as well, and kind of just creating that relationship with the other students that are there in person, the members, and the school as well.
Nice. I love that. Great. So I guess because, you're really an expert in this type of thing, getting involved with the campus, right? So what would your best piece of advice be for a DE student who's looking to find where they belong at UH West Oahu?
I would say attend, if you can, just pop in into my office hours. We also do have General Senate meetings about twice a month, and I think the next one is next Thursday. I believe Thursday the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. And they're from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. every other week. And we talk about what we're doing with the school, what's happening, and you can also meet the other members as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
And if you can also see with Anuhea, you can connect with the school. Sometimes she's able to book a trip and have you visit the campus as well.
Yeah, those trips are really fun.
Yeah.
Didn't we go on one? Like,
I think we've gone a couple times.
yeah, that was great. Cool. Awesome. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This
Thank
was great.
you.
I think you brought a lot of great experience to
Thank
this.
you.
And yeah, I wish you all the best as you continue being the DE senator. That's great.
Thank you. You as well. One more thing I wanted to add is that on May 2nd, we will be having our study sesh for UHWO students. So it will be at the DE classroom if you want to go ahead and join us. The hours are from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then food will be provided as well.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
come on out, come study, get ready for, I'm assuming that's finals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, finals. Yeah. Come on out. That's going to be a great time.
Exactly. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You too.
Mahalo for listening to Transfer Talk. The views and opinions shared by the hosts and any guests are solely theirs and do not reflect the views and opinions of UH West Oahu or Kauai Community College as an institution. If you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast, please like, share, comment, and check out all the other episodes. Aloha.